Moscow Popular Science Film Studio presents Electrification. Scenario by German Fradkin and Nikolai Chuprakov. Producer Nikolai Churikov. Directors and cameramen Leon Kachuryan, Arkady Visurak. Sound recorded by Vladimir Kutuzov. Our vast country is always on the move, space changing with every new day. And electric transmission lines have come to symbolize the industrial might of our socialist state. Yes, these lines are indeed lines of a new life. And wherever we look, at the Caucasian mountains, at the Central Asian deserts, or at the extensive plains in central Russia, everywhere these lines lead us to those hubs of industry, the electric power stations. Thermal and hydropower stations rise up in different parts of the country as monuments to our great time, as monuments that will last through the centuries. Clad in granite and concrete, they tell generations of the triumph of Lenin's plans for the electrification of the Soviet land. Lenin's ambitious scheme was the spark from which the flame of electrification caught fire. One winter evening in January 1920, Lenin instructed the engineer Khruschchev, the eminent Soviet power expert, to take charge of the work to draw up a state plan for Russia's electrification. 10 months later, Lenin had before him the first plan for nationwide electrification, the famous Goel Row project. Communism is Soviet power plus the electrification of the entire country. These words of Lenin became for the Soviet people the motto of a whole epoch. At the time, the Goel Row project called for 20 thermal stations and 10 hydropower stations. It was indeed an ambitious program, a project to refashion ruined and economically backward Russia. As the years passed, the firstborn of the Goel Row plan began to produce electricity. The building of Europe's biggest hydropower station on the Dnieper was a major highlight in the realization of the project for Russia's electrification. To ensure greater dependability and economy, thermal and hydropower stations merged to form district power systems, power grids. To speed up electrification, the country began to erect big thermal stations having mighty turbines of 150,000 kilowatts each. Here, the unloading of coal is no longer the back-breaking, inefficient job it was before. The desk man presses the button and the 100-ton wagon, clutched in the iron vice, tilts over with rapid ease. In 1 hour, the tilting device unloads more than 1,000 tons of coal. Units, hundreds of miles away from the control panel, are run by means of automation and telemechanics. The dispatcher turns the key, presses the button, and there goes the relay. And a series of high-frequency electric impulses race along the electric transmission lines to the electric station, where the pickups of robot machines go into action. and 50 seconds after the button was pressed, the 100,000 kilowatt turbine begins to spin to full capacity. Automatic devices serve electric transmission lines as well. Lightning causes a short circuit. A breakdown seems inevitable, but the robot device is on the lookout. The line is switched off, the arc goes out, and the line is on again. Everything is done by the robot in a split second. There are more and more of automatic machines and less of personnel at electric power stations now. All 17 stations of the Chirchik-Boz-Sui cascade in the Uzbek grid are fully automated. Most of them are remote controlled, and stations are under lock and key. One of the locked stations is the Tavak hydropower station, a domain of deserted silence. All the turbines are fully automatically controlled. A station of this type is the supreme stage of automation. When the number of stations grew, the small power grids could no longer contain them. For that reason, a unified central power system was established for the central part of the country, a Urals power grid for the Eastern European part of the Soviet Union, and a power grid for the southern part. The Soviet power industry advanced with 7 league strides. One after another, we overtook the capitalist countries in the output of electricity. Every year we came closer and closer, demanding that they yield the right of way. We leave Sweden behind, then Switzerland, then Norway. We outstrip Italy, Japan, leave behind France, and Britain. Only Western Germany and the United States were ahead. But in 1950, we outstripped Western Germany as well. Now, only the United States is ahead. But will that be for long? Electricity has enabled the Soviet people to transform their country into the world's biggest industrial power. Electricity is the backbone of technical progress, of mechanization and automation. Electricity has relieved workers of arduous manual labor and made their labor more efficient. Electricity has rid millions of the smoke and soot of the begrimed workshops of old, turning them into factories that gleam pure like spotless laboratories, indeed worthy of the name of man. Electricity has also made work lighter and more productive for the collective farmer, and mechanization of agriculture is unthinkable without it. Lenin was convinced that electricity would shine where for centuries benighted ignorance had held sway. The vast land of Siberia, thousands of miles wide, can encompass more than one European state. From a bird's eye view, it seems uninhabited and taciturn, as if nothing could arouse it from its age-old lethargy. The wild cliffs seem to guard its untold treasure, its gold, diamonds, coal, and rare metal. However, the Soviet man, the creator, has come here to resolutely and rapidly refashion this kingdom. Caravans of ships, piled high with building machinery, steam down the broad-bosomed Yenisei, striking into the depths of Siberia to rouse it from its slumbers and bring forth its treasure. The builders of power stations swoop down in places tucked far away in the impenetrable taiga. Step by step, they cut their way through the undergrowth, pioneering the trail of a new life. Old Siberia is going. Masts of electric transmission lines will jut out into the sky in place of ship timber pine grove. Builders have come to the austere Yenisei to erect the world's most powerful Krasnoyarsk hydropower station. This is only the beginning, and here, where no foot had trod yesterday, today life is burgeoning. Yes, the new life is imperiously asserting itself. Here they are, the builders of power stations, the makers of a new life. Their dream is to embody the ambitious project for a hydropower station with a capacity of 5 to 6 million kilowatts. It will have Herculean turbines, with one alone producing nearly as much electricity as the entire Dnieper station. And all around, huge factories and plants that will consume this electricity will spring up. These banks are a desolated place now, but soon they will be the site of new cities and new industrial centers. In the necklace of Siberian power stations, the one at Bratsk on the Angara will be the most precious gem. The scope of construction is enormous. The dam is 100 meters high and well on a par with the station's capacity of 4.5 million kilowatts. Everything is gigantic here, whether the reinforced concrete structural elements, the hook of the crane, or the 20-ton bucket for concrete. But the real giant is the man, the builder, the master of this intricate modern machinery. Today, the scene of construction is no longer dominated by the navvy, the stonemason or the carpenter, but by the operator of machines. Today, the raging Angara is still foaming, but soon, when this grand construction project will be completed, the river will docilely turn mighty turbines. Her waters, raised high by the colossal dam, will spread far and wide to cover the per se cliff capped by a lone pine. The young tribe of builders has remade nature also near the old Siberian village of Nazarevo. The big thermal station they are erecting here will burn coal mined right at the Earth's surface. The expanses of Siberia stretch far and wide, and its future is wonderful.